Hi everyone and welcome back to Chess for Charity. In this video, I'm going to show you a super cool puzzle where it is white to play and win. So it's a really amazing puzzle because there are so many cool variations and I really want to go through them all. So if you want to just pause the video here and see if you can find the solution, now is the best chance to do so. While you're doing that, let me quickly encourage you to subscribe if you have not yet already. Half of the income that I earn in this channel goes directly to charity, so every like, every subscriber helps me out so much. Okay, let's get to it here. So the first thing you should notice that maybe you didn't notice is it's white's move, but if you make a nothing move, let's just make a nothing move. Let's just say knight g7. One of the whole points of this is to show that queen e1 is threatening mate on the spot, right? Because this is covered and this out square is covered. So in other words, you need to act immediately. So what does that mean exactly? Well, you want to look for checks, you want to look for attacks. So if you promote this c-pawn to a queen, for example, maybe you're threatening this mate, this is not going to work because queen e1 check, you have to interpose, and that's going to be mate. So you have to act in a way that gives check. Well, that might give you a hint for the first move, right? You might say, okay, well, I can promote this pawn to a knight. That's pretty cool. Give check. It can be captured, sure, but the king can also move around. So we have to consider, from this position, the different variations. So let me just walk you down one path for a moment. So if king a8, this would be the worst defense that black could put up. You can take this knight with check, and depending on where the king goes, you either promote this pawn, or you give a couple more checks and then win. So for example, if you play something like king a7 as black, you're actually laying a bit of a trap because you cannot promote here because this will end up being a draw. It's kind of crazy, the variations in this puzzle. So queen b4 will do it. You take me, you're stalemated. Crazy. So you have to be kind of careful when playing this ending. So don't promote in this position. Instead, knight c8 check. Just to give a random defense here, according to the engine, king b8, check them, king a8, this is a check, and you're going to win this no problem. You can promote to a queen, you can take their queen, no stalemates, you'll be okay. Like this, d8 equals queen, they come back, and this will be enough to win it. Okay, king takes c8, and that's a nice way to win. So just one idea of the variations that can happen. So after you, let me go back, after you promote to a knight, if they go to a8, you have to win carefully, but you can definitely win. Okay, what about if they go to b8? Is it any different? Well, in this position, you can actually get away with queening directly because now this check does not work because the knight would be hanging, right? So the best thing they can do here is try to give themselves up. It's not going to work. Any attempt to stalemate themselves is not going to work. King c6 is the best thing you can do here, and eventually the checks will run out. You can just run away. So king e7, and even something like this eventually will work. Right? I don't have to show the whole line. Okay. So what about the main variation, right? Probably what you're wondering from the beginning. What happens if they take? So this is the path I want to start going down. So knight takes. Okay. Well, you have to capture this and promote to a knight again, right? It seems like that's the only way to go. But in this position, the king has two moves, right? And the queen can just capture this knight. So it feels like this is not going to amount to anything. Well, let's look at the best defenses, also the worst defenses. Let's just look at all the defenses. So the worst defense to this is king a8. This is actually a mate in 10 from this position. We don't have to go down the whole line. The point is that I check you, you move, I take the queen, and I have two pawns. I'm winning this, no problem. Not to mention two knights, right? That point is not to go down that road. Okay, so I take this and promote to a knight. You don't play king a8 because you're walking right into a fork. Instead, maybe you think to play king b8. Is that any better? Not really, because I can play a7 check, and if you walk back into the corner, you'll get hit with the fork again. So you don't want to do that. And pretty much anything else you do, like king b7, I can take this and force you to go in the corner, and then I'll win the queen. So the real critical variation in this line is what happens when the queen takes, right? Okay, queen takes. Now you can play b6 check. Okay, you have to be careful here though, because you're pushing these pawns, you're leaving yourself very open to perpetual checks in the future. So you have to make sure this works out. Now from this variation, see how deeply you can calculate. Just a little quiz to you. The king has 2 moves, right? So there aren't that many lines to calculate. And just see what you can figure out. So if the king goes to a8, you can not play b7. Interesting thing here. You play b7, queen takes, pawn takes, king takes. That is a draw. The queen can give itself up for the 2 pawns, and it will be a very unfortunate draw for you. So even though this pattern of a fork kind of just presents itself, you can't make that move. Instead, knight c7 check is the only way to win here. And if they take this, importantly, this is not stalemate, in case you were wondering. They have to make a move like this, and just don't stalemate them. King b5 is fine. Or maybe something like this is how I would do it, because I'm nervous, I never want to stalemate. Or you can just promote with check, right? That probably is easier. So, we go back. They can't take this, that's my point. They play king b8. Okay, be very careful here. Do you see the way to win? a7 check. They play king b7. Now you have to ask yourself, can you get away with promoting this pawn with check to the king? Can you get away with all those exchanges? And the answer is yes. Queen. They take, you take, they take. Now you have one move that wins here. I'm sure it's kind of obvious. King a6. They play king b8. And very importantly, you play b7, cutting off those squares. They have to run away. And now you have control of all these squares, which means you can promote no problem. So that's pretty much how you win that. So there are so many crazy variations in this, and I think it's worth just looking at it from the very beginning one more time and just realizing that this check hits, capture, check, and one more variation. I think I showed it a little bit. King b8. If instead of after a7, if they don't, like there are so many ways they can do it. You can play king takes, I think I showed this line, king takes c8, king b7. There are just so many crazy lines, but I just really like to show them because, yeah, look at this one. It's just nuts. This is the one I didn't show. Okay, this is the one I really wanted to show. So in this position, the best move, this is just so cool. If you were to just take a guess, what is the best move in this position? Just take a moment. This is like a bonus quiz. See if you can get it right. If you do get it right, let me know in the comments. This is pretty crazy. The best move in this position is queen to d5. Look at this. The whole point is a simplification tactic here. They take you, they have to, and then boom, that's a fork. That hurts. They move, you take it, and look at this. How do you win? There are plenty of ways to win. Just be careful you don't stalemate them. And then let's say they want to go around, they make a move like this, you do this, this is enough to win, just like before. Super cool. I really wanted to show that. I didn't want to miss that line because I thought it was really cool. You can just sacrifice your queen on d5. It's very flashy. You don't have to do that. Another way to do it is queen b7 after they take. This will do. But just be careful you don't lose this. Here, bang. Now they have to run away here. And that's enough to get right there, and the same theme applies. Do you see why it's important to know your king and pawn endings, right? But yeah, that's pretty much it. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. I love making these puzzle videos. It's just so cool. These amazing compositions. It teaches me a lot about pawn endings and just all stuff in general. But that is it for now. Thank you so much. Bye.